Welcome to Nerdsville. Those of you who haven't seen the show are probably wondering just what Nerdsville is. And since this is the first edition, that should include a lot of you. Well, this program is Nerdsville, and I hope to fully document this as the show continues. Nerdsville is a no-format comedy magazine of the air, dedicated to keeping you uninformed of all the important events of the week, so you don't have to face the fact that the world is falling apart all around you.
Hello, we're here with John Wriggleshampton, a man who claims to be a snake born into a man's body. Is this true, Mr. Hampton?
Yes, it is correct.
And what led you to this conclusion?
Oh, it was a lot of little things at first, and then one day I was in earnest meditation, and everything made sense all of a sudden. I had been meant to be a snake, but by some freak accident of nature, I'd been born into a man's body.
What type of little things do you mean here?
Oh, as a small child, I remember crawling around on my stomach a lot. Then when I was 3 or 4, I began sticking my tongue out to people. In junior high was the next big indication. I would hiss at sports events when the other team would score. I used to go to everything just to hiss. In high school, I felt that I just couldn't deal with people, especially girls. Couldn't socialize. I felt at times an almost uncontrollable urge to crawl under a rock. People would set me up with dates, and I would just wriggle out of them.
Yes, well, Mr. Hampton, these are really quite common experiences.
There are probably multitudes of latent snakes who just do not realize their true nature.
Are you quite comfortable?
Oh, yes.
Oh, you know, you're not very well equipped for crawling around like that.
Well, it was strange at first, but I've gotten used to it now.
Yes, well, what kind of snake are you?
A bull snake.
Sounds about right. Well, tell me, Mr. Hampton, what's it like to be a snake in a man's world?
You wouldn't believe the discrimination and slander you get. People think that just because you're a snake, you're not human. They say things like, you snake in the grass, or you viper. Then there are the plumbers who think that the snake is something that they use to clean out toilets with when they're clogged up.
Oh, are there others like you then?
Well, not really. I did spend some time with a group of coral snakes, but the singing drove me crazy. In high school, I knew a guy who thought he was a lizard. Now, there's a real nut for you. Said that the only reason he didn't have a tail was because somebody grabbed it and he had to break it off to get free. Swore it'd grow back, but he never did.
Thank you, Mr. Hampton. Well, there you are, folks. Mr. John Wriggleshampton, a man with the brain of a snake.
Thank you, Herman. Herman will be back next week with Tiny Morrison. Tiny is a professional small animal beater and will demonstrate how to clean your oven with a cat. We've just got a news flash through our Nerdsville News Network. 10 students at Brigham Young University in Provo, Utah, were killed just a few moments ago and 37 wounded when a dairy truck crashed through the windows of the Wilkinson Student Center into a step-down lounge. The driver of the truck was apprehended on the site by campus security. The football team, 2 Mormon missionaries, 14 ROTC cadets, 6 Boy Scouts, and friends and relatives of the dead and injured parties, and a girl who sells candy at the University Theater in the same building. The driver is reported to be in a stunned condition. He has declined comment, but witnesses have informed us that he did issue a statement immediately following the accident to this effect. Who ordered the cottage cheese? Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Reed Bear.
out that door, before you go out the door, there's something more I gotta say to you, girl. Ooh, I gotta say to you. Ooh, man me blue. Ooh, ooh, you man me blue. And I'm gonna sing to you. I'm gonna sing to you. The perspiration blue. Now every single one of you who had a loved one, ooh, you know you gotta have more fun. Ooh, you gotta have something else fun. Yeah. Ooh, you gotta have more fun. Ooh, you gotta sweat. Sweat, 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 sweat. You know, some people say it's against the law. It's against the law to sweat for the one you love. Well, if it's against the law, baby, then you know I'm an outlaw. Why? Cause why I'm gonna sweat for you, baby. Well, you know, it's swell and this gel cell, cause I'm sweating, baby. Ooh, yeah, I'm gonna sweat for you, girl. Now I want you to come along. Yeah. I want you to come along, sing me the song, yeah. Ooh, and the words are easy to do. And just in case you forgot them, I'm gonna sing them again to you. Yeah, here's your clue. If you ever feel blue, just say, I'm gonna sweat for you. I'm gonna sweat. I'm gonna sweat.
light of your sudden rise in the world of cinema today, there's some controversy concerning your background that we'd like to clear up. Now, according to what I have here, you graduated rather unobtrusively from the Royal Film Academy, went on to study with Jean-Pierre Gascard for a few years, and then went to Hollywood, where you made 3 monumental pictures in less than 2 years. Is that correct?
No, not exactly.
Well, would you please clarify for us? I'm sure the audience is most curious.
Well, I never graduated from the Royal Film Academy. You see, I started first working as an usher at the Ritz Theater in Cleveland. There I saved up enough money and I took a trip to Europe. Well, I was in London passing by the RFA one day, and this guy comes running out of the building, you know, in a big huff and asks if I want a job in the cinema. Well, I said, sure. Well, you can have mine, he says. So I took it. He was a janitor.
Well, then that led you to enrolling into the academy.
No, I never did take any classes there. I was only there a year. Hey, but I sure found out why the first guy quit. You know, they only got 1 storage closet for the whole building. The plumbing is in need of constant repair. The pay is lousy. Oh, man, they wouldn't even buy me a new mop and bucket. Have you ever seen a sound stage after a student film crew is done, finishing, working, and everything for 12 hours? Oh, man, they'd shoot till way late at night, and I'd have to stay up all night cleaning up. You know, with as much money as they're raking in off of those students, they could be doing a lot better than they've been. I bet you someone just takes the money and puts it in their pocket anyway.
Well, surely you picked up some directing skills while at the Royal Academy.
Nah. Yeah, I set in on a couple of directing classes, you know, but I never saw what anybody got out of them anyway. There's just always somebody down there blabbing on for hours about motivational units or something like that, while the students are running a contest trying to figure out where he's driving so that they can answer intelligently. After that, the actors and the directors and the technicians all go down and they play Hollywood on the stage.
Well, then you picked up your directing skills from Jean-Pierre.
Well, now that's a different story. Yeah. After I quit the academy, I was visiting in France, you know, where he was making his movie, The 400 Rows, you know, that satire on corn farming? Yeah. Well, I was hanging around the set one day, and he comes up with this idea. It says he needs someone to drive a tractor. So I tell him I can. Well, did you see the film where this guy driving the tractor runs over this pig while Mary Ann and Lester in the back kissing by the hay wagon? That was me driving.
I didn't know that was you.
Yeah, sure. Well, I kept hanging around the set, you know, and I came up with the idea of the opening for the love scene, where I dropped this big bale of hay on these little baby chicks just before Lester and Polly are in the love scene. Yeah. After I told him that, he really liked it.
Well, that one was yours, too. I didn't know that.
Yeah, sure. Hey, he really took a liking to me after that. We became real good buddies, you know. We went out carousing and drinking and messing around. We were just like that. Hey, you know, he's a regular guy. Yeah?
I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I hung around until he finished the film. Gave him a few more ideas.
Well, like what?
Well, he didn't know how to stage the death scene, you know, where Norton kills Stephen and Polly cries over the body. So I suggested that he shoot an extra scene with the 2 stallions fighting over the mare and Polly looking on.
Well, that one was yours?
Yeah.
Why, those are some of the greatest moments on the film.
Yeah. Hey, now mind you, Jean-Pierre came up with some pretty good stuff now and then. You know, he had a real problem, though, you know, pulling his actors through. He got too caught up in his own wisdom. A lot of times they were so confused, I'd have to go out on the set, straighten everything out before they could even shoot the scene. You know, I think he was more interested on scoring with the leading lady than he was with directing. But let's not get into that. He really messed up a lot of good film, though, you know, by not paying attention and using these jump cuts. The really bad one in 400 Rows.
That was a mistake?
Yeah.
That's one of the innovations the critics praise the most. I mean, that's become one of his most famous trademarks.
Nah. Hey, he had a good publicity man, and he won him an Oscar for it.
Well, how did you get to Hollywood?
One drunken night, I got old Pierre to write me a letter of recommendation. He sent me on a plane to Hollywood. I got a job there working on a low-budget film called Days of Sunshine.
Right.
Worked hard on it and got myself an Oscar. After that, work was easy.
So you've had absolutely no formal training, yet you turn out such marvelous films.
Yep, that's right. Hey, I just never got into all that jargon of visual aids or symbols or things like that. Yeah.
No, wait a minute. Now, what about the shadow of the cross that falls on Joey in city streets as he's being stoned to death. Now, obviously, Joey represents the Christ figure in the film, but this shadow...
You noticed that, huh?
Well, of course, and thousands of other critics praised you for such subtlety.
Well, that was a mistake. You see, what that was 2 2x4s. We'd rigged them up earlier, you know, to set some lights on them. Well, the shadow fell into the fill light during the shot, and we were just hoping no one had noticed it, so we went ahead and kept it.
That was a mistake.
Yep.
Well, it's lucky that it fit right into the Christ symbolism, with Joy being the Christ figure in the play and in the movie that you made it. And
what? Are you kidding? Man, the guy was a jerk. He was a complete washout. He never did a decent thing in the whole film.
Now, wait a minute. Now, he was driven to violent acts by society, but he was lonely, confused.
Man.
He was totally innocent.
Look, I ought to know. I made the movie. All right. Sure. All right, he was mistreated. He was confused. Does that give him any reason to burn up a whole city street? Gee, the guy was a jerk, a drip, man. He deserved being stoned to death. Society, Paul. He was a drip.
I'm sorry. Now, how do you get such great performances out of your actors? You've obviously had little training. Have you read Stanislavski?
Hey, does he make movies?
Forget it.
The basic thing that you gotta do is you gotta have taste, and you gotta learn to communicate with your actors clearly.
Well, then how do you communicate?
In English.
So you just sort of fell into this.
Yeah?
Well, thank you for being our guest this week.
Hey, my pleasure. Don't mention it.
As you can see, folks, truly a Cinderella story. This is Cleft Palate signing off till next week.
Now, hey, it's your boy.
Oh, and Fred Peterson here again. I'm sorry, but our early report on the accident in the Student Center at Brigham Young University has turned out to be a complete hoax. Nerdsville especially apologizes to the 3 students who were trampled to death in the ensuing stampede of people who immediately thronged to view the supposed spectacle. I guess that'll teach us to broadcast those anonymous phone tips until we check them out.
Thank you, Fred. Well, Miss McAllister, this is the first time I've met you, and I must say you certainly are an attractive young lady.
Well, thank you.
I mean, I've met some fine-looking women in my time, but you certainly top them all.
Well, I'm flattered you
As a
think
matter
so.
of fact, I'm finding it rather hard to control myself right now, so if I seem a little clumsy about my business...
Quite all right, I understand.
Yes, I assure you I am quite competent.
Oh, I'm sure you are.
As a matter of fact, I am one of the best in my field. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah, well, hardly anybody does with me stuck in this rat hole of a
Well,
station.
Mr. Jones, the station manager, told me you were very good when he called me.
He did?
Yes, absolutely, very good.
Yeah. Oh, well, I seem to have drifted a little bit here.
Happens to the best.
Yes, and we are the best, aren't we?
Mr. Port.
Call me Davin.
Okay, Davin.
Mr. Jones really said he liked me. I was good, huh?
Yes.
Gee. Well, as I was saying, you certainly have a nice figure.
Look, I think we've just about exhausted that point.
Well, I only mentioned that as an explanation of my state of mind. I mean, it's really hard for me to concentrate on a serious interview with such a foxy-looking lady sitting next to me.
Are you trying to embarrass me?
Oh, no. Just that I wish I would have met you when I was single.
Do you think you could keep your little hormones under control so that we can finish the interview?
Sure. Well, tell me, what's it really like to be a beauty queen?
I haven't been a beauty queen for 3 years.
What about the fame, the glory, the clamoring mobs of people? Yeah.
I understand. Mr. Jones,
Tell me, how has this affected your social life?
if you want to know the truth, I hated the whole experience. It was a cattle show, a meat market. It was a sick, exploitive ripoff.
I take it then you're through with the beauty queen business.
I don't want to talk about that. I want to...
Have you got a boyfriend?
That's none of your business.
Afraid to take the fast ride, huh? Yeah.
It hasn't got anything to do with taking a fast ride.
Oh, it does. Precisely that.
This is stupid.
You know, you sound just like my wife. You know, when I got married a year ago, she was all, oh, I told her, hey, it's going to be tough, but oh, no. Hey, I support you. I'm behind you all the way. I believe in you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. 6 months later, nag. When are you going to make it big? When are you going to spend more time with me?
I don't care about your wife.
Yeah, well, neither do I.
Look, the only reason I came down here is because I thought you wanted to talk to me about what I've been doing since I left the pageant scene.
Well, there's no need to get so excited.
Are you going to ask me about the work I've been doing lately like you're supposed to?
I'm sorry, that information is just not on my sheet.
Well, I refuse to talk about beauty pageants.
Well, then I guess we just have no use for you at all. Well, that finishes this week of Special People.
But I've just been accepted for NASA's Jupiter mission.
I'm sorry, that's not on my sheet.
What kind of a stupid
Goodbye,
show is
thank you.
this?
Shut up.
Mr. Jones never really said you were any good.
You liar.
In fact, he said you stunk.
He never said that at all.
He did too, boy.
I don't even see how you...
Listen, he had to pay me
really
double just
ugly.
to get me on this show.
I don't even see why I sit next to you.
Well, they say I'm apathetic, but I don't care. 'Cause there's worried folks with ulcers everywhere. Just like loving and sharing, you just get hurt by caring. So I may be apathetic, but I don't care. Now they tell me that my manners are quite rude. They just stand there staring, looking mighty crude. Though I know shows a total lack of grace. Love to shove my salad in their face. Now they tell me that my language is quite bad, and it's things like that that really make me mad. Though I know it shows a total lack of class, they all can take it, shove it up there. But I don't care, 'cause there's white folks with ulcers everywhere. Just like loving and sharing, you just get hurt by caring. So I may be apathetic, but I don't care.
We see that safety precautions are necessary, even with the most modern home appliances. That's all for now, and live safe.
As the old saying goes, all good things must come to an end, sort of like a donkey's hind legs. Anyway, we hope you'll keep watching. I'm sure each new edition will live up to the same low standard set by the previous one. Remember, we love you all. After all, you are our meal ticket. And remember, life is short for midgets.